This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology. The images are for illustration purposes only. Ning Kayue was shocked. The shock in her heart was indescribable. This corpse could actually use the ultimate technique of his life. She was so shocked that she didn't have time to think. The scepter in her hand immediately turned into a golden sword. The sword chi struck down and cut the fist radiance. The sword chi was about to hit the body, but another sword radiance came from the sky. It was another body. The sword chi in his hand destroyed Ning Kayue's sword chi and saved his companion. At this moment, the formation of the 36 people was activated. Ning Kayue felt her heart tremble. An unknown force came from the ground with a violent and decaying aura, which directly affected the operation of her yuan power. There was no time to think carefully. 3 powerful auras came from behind him. The 3 corpses joined forces to attack. One clenched a fist, one formed a finger, and one formed a palm. The 3 of them were all 9 stars martial emperors when they were alive, so it was impossible for them to join forces and do something so ungentlemanly. However, everything was under Yang Yuanshu's control at the moment, so they would not resist even if he asked them to pounce on dogshit. Ning Kayue turned around and swung her sword. The sword radiance was like a peacock spreading its tail, repelling the 3 of them. At this moment, she also realized that these corpses' strength was far from when they were alive, but their physical bodies were comparable to profound-level weapons. Even with her extremely strong sword force, she could only injure these corpses. Yang Yuanshu laughed loudly and said, "Do you feel that your life is fading away? I've set up the Book of the Nether Ghost Formation under this mountain peak, which can continuously devour the vitality of living beings and strengthen the evil chi of ghosts and corpses. Do you feel that it's very difficult to reduce one and increase the other?" His eyes were filled with greed as he licked his dry lips and grinned, "What a beautiful body. After you are killed, I will definitely dress you up and make you my corpse concubine." As if he was too excited, a tent was erected on a certain part of his body. After the 3 bodies were blown away by Ning Kayue, more bodies fell from the sky. All kinds of light bloomed one by one. It was the ultimate skills of these masters. Ning Kayue was furious when she heard this. Her eyes flashed with killing intent. She narrowed her eyes slightly, and a soft song came from the sword. A light sword will spread out and danced on the top of the mountain. Snow flew in the sky, and the desolation of the passing of time spread. Sitting alone in the cool night breeze, watching the snow fall from the mountain peak. Listen to Fei Hua's whispers and count the traces of the past. The ultimate techniques revealed by the corpses were all broken by this ancient chill. This was a kind of law of time, and time was like a knife. The peerless powerhouse of the past had become a dried corpse in the traces of time. The 36 corpses seemed to have been touched, and a kind of bone-chilling sadness spread out from the corpses, as if the peerless will of the cultivators when they were alive had been awakened by this song, and they were trying their best to resist. The 3 peak 9-star corpses beside Yang Yuanshu trembled violently in an attempt to break free from this restraint. 2 streams of blood tears flowed down from one of the mummified corpses. "Damn it, you can actually break my corpse controlling technique?" Shocked, Yang Yuanshu hurriedly formed hand seals with both hands, and a series of obscure notes came out of his mouth. They were actually a stretch of nether words that traveled down the mountain peak. The wavering corpses immediately calmed down, and the corpse chi on their bodies surged as they pounced once more. Yang Yuanshu's face turned slightly green. Gritting his teeth, he sent a few talismans into the 3 strongest corpses, and his aura instantly weakened. As if he had been drained of all his energy, he shriveled up and became much more dispirited. The 3 corpses trembled slightly and immediately emitted a monstrous corpse chi as they charged into the battle formation. The corpse controlling technique could not control the number of corpses at will, but it was based on the caster's strength. Yang Yuanshu's strength was not enough to control these 30 mummies at the same time, so only a dozen or so attacked Ning Kayue while the others stayed on the side. 3 former peak 9-star experts rose into the air, and the aura of the entire battle formation changed. The other corpses suddenly retreated, and 3 extremely powerful attacks came from the air. These 3 were no weaker than you when they were alive. Today, this place will be your place of rebirth. From now on, you can be my harem's corpse concubine. Yang Yuanshu laughed maniacally and licked his lower lip, revealing an expression of extreme desire. Ning Kuyue's face was cold. She turned the sword chi in her hand, and a strong ancient sound came out. She said coldly, "Every expert here could have killed you wantonly when they were alive. How dare you humiliate them like this? There's no reason for you to live in this world." The ancient music on the sword was mesmerizing and resounded. 1,000 autumns like snow, a half a year like a dream, one sword to suppress the soul of time song. Ning Kuyue said softly. The sword light pierced the sky and bloomed on the top of the mountain. The wheel of time seemed to be disrupted at this moment. This sword connected the distant past and passed on to the endless future. The corpses of the 3 peerless experts immediately froze, and the 3 powerful attacks also stopped at this moment. Bang! 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 The bodies of the 3 corpses exploded, and a smile appeared on their hideous faces. 2 streams of tears flowed down as if they were looking at the present from the sky a long time ago and saying thank you. Yang Yuanshu turned pale with fright and said in shock, "You. How could you kill them?" Ning Kuyue stepped forward and said coldly, "They aren't willing to be controlled by you and can only use 30% of their strength at most. How can they defeat me? As for this life-extracting formation, no matter how much my origin energy is suppressed by you, it's more than enough to kill you." Yang Yuanshu was so shocked that he kept retreating. He said in fear, "Save me. Sir, save me." Ning Kuyue's sword chi scared him out of his wits. He couldn't care less about his favorite treasures and turned to escape. Ning Kuyue's body trembled slightly. She immediately felt a powerful aura coming toward her, and her expression changed drastically. She was no stranger to this aura. She had encountered it not long ago. The white figure gradually appeared in front of him, and the snow between heaven and earth stopped, as if it did not dare to fall because of this person's arrival. A poem was recited at the peak of the mountain. "It's not that I'm the one who evolved the 4 poles, it's just that I'm amazing. It's not my little world, it's just talent. It's not that I've been unrivaled since ancient times." Ling Bai. Ning Kuyue's face was pale. She gritted her teeth and said, "So it was you behind the scenes." A huge sense of regret welled up in her heart. She regretted that she had not been able to kill this person when she had the absolute advantage outside of Red Moon City. Now that the time was not right, she had to suffer instead. "Lord Nightshade, you're finally here." Yang Yuanshu was overjoyed and hurriedly ran forward with an apologetic smile. "Please kill this woman and leave her body to me, sir." Ling Bai descended from the sky, and his figure fused with the snow. "We meet again, Ning Kuyue," Ling Bai said indifferently. His appearance this time was much calmer than the last time. It was as quiet as a snowflake in the mountain, hard to distinguish. Ning Kuyue's face was pale. Now that this person had appeared, she knew that it was impossible for her to go back today. She said coldly, "Ling Bai, tell me, was this all your plan?" Ling Bai shook his head and said, "Although I want to kill you, I have my own methods. I despise such methods." Ning Kuyue was stunned. She was shocked and said, "Then who is? He even managed to invite you?" Yang Yuanshu laughed maliciously. "Master Nightshade is the world's #1 assassin. Since he's an assassin, he naturally has a price. If that master can afford it, Master Nightshade will naturally take action. You didn't expect this, right? The one who's waiting to kill you isn't me, but the 4th-ranked martial sovereign. That person knows that I have a grudge against you, so he offered a very attractive price for me to make a move," Ling Bai said indifferently. "So don't be afraid, I'll leave immediately after one move." Even if it was only one move, who in the world would dare to say that they could take it? Even Ning Kuyue, who was in a state of great turmoil, didn't dare to say that she could take one move from him. Ling Bai's aura gradually spread out, and his killing intent seemed to have materialized. Yang Yuanshu's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly retreated a few dozen meters, deeply afraid that he would be drawn into it. The snowflakes that had stopped in the sky seemed to have been summoned and fell again at this moment. However, every snowflake turned into ice crystals with the bone-chilling cold chi, freezing the world. Ling Bai moved. To be exact, he didn't move. Only the snow on the ground moved. It was sent flying and spinning in the air by a force. The snowflakes were sharp and carried a shocking murderous intent. Every snowflake was like a sharp blade that could kill. Ling Bai's face was unusually calm and emotionless. The power of the snowflakes brought great pressure to Ning Keyue, forcing her sword to unseal itself. A golden battle suit covered her body, but she still couldn't help but step back. Ling Bai moved. This time, he really did move. He stretched out his hand and a snowflake fell on his fingertip. He used the snowflake as a sword and quickly pierced through the layers of flying snow. The extremely white flower seemed to have integrated with the essence of the purple cloud peak and the law of snow. Ling Bai's white figure suddenly turned black. He was like a shadow that was cast on the snow-covered mountain peak. Behind him was the endless dark night sky. It was as if the endless night sky had turned into his reflection at this moment. Only this patch of white and this patch of black was left in the world. Ning Keyue's heart trembled. She watched in horror as a snowflake floated towards her. It was so slow and beautiful, but she seemed unable to resist it. She used all her strength to raise the golden sword in her hand and thrust it out in the air. There was no fancy move. Just this thrust was her strongest power. The golden sword emitted a scorching light like a cloud, and the tip of the sword finally touched the white snow. The scorching tip of the sword touched the snowflake, and the beautiful petal instantly melted, burned into nothingness by the clouds on the golden sword, as if it had never appeared. Ning Keyue's pupils shrank. She saw that the mournful snow in the sky had finally dispersed, and the mountain-like killing intent had disappeared. Ling Bai was still standing there quietly. It was as if he had not made a move at all and had not thrown the snowflake. The snow fell again, covering his clothes. Ning Keyue swallowed with difficulty. Her clothes were soaked in cold sweat, and her heart was still beating violently. She knew that Ling Bai had held back. Otherwise, she would not have been so safe and sound even if she had not died from that move. She hurriedly took out a pill and swallowed it. The sword attack just now had consumed all her strength. At this moment, any detail could affect her life and death, and her life and death might directly affect the survival of Red Moon City, so she could not die. She did not ask Ling Bai why he had shown mercy, but at least she was not dead yet. She had to work hard to live on, for herself and for the Red Moon City. Yang Yuanshu's eyes widened at the sight before him, and he suddenly screamed, "Why didn't you kill her, Nightshade?" Ling Bai ignored him and looked at Ning Keyue. He said, "One move has passed, my mission is complete. If you can survive today, please remember this move. It's called the Nine Dragon Snow, and there will be more wonderful changes waiting for you next time." Wait. Seeing that Ling Bai was about to fly away, Yang Yuanshu hurriedly chased after him and shouted, "Lord Nightshade, you actually showed mercy." Ling Bai, who was about to leave, suddenly stopped. He frowned and said, "I've shown mercy, so what?" This. Yang Yuanshu was suddenly punched in the chest, and he said with a stifled voice, You've taken the benefits from that lord. You should have used all your strength to kill Ning Keyue with one move. I only promised to use one move. Which ear of yours heard that?" Ling Bai said coldly. You. Yang Yuanshu was completely dumbfounded as he anxiously said, "Do you still have any morals by doing this?" As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly felt a chill all over his body, as if he had fallen into a bottomless abyss. His whole body trembled in fear, as if he would die at any moment. Ling Bai's eyes were filled with killing intent. "A lowly existence like you is no different from a bag of dog shit in front of me. If it wasn't for your master's face, you would have already committed a capital crime by controlling the bodies of these top experts." One more word from you is one more earwax in my ears. If you say another word to me, I'll let your master collect your body. Ling Bai was also a peerless master, and as the saying goes, we appreciate each other. When he saw the 36 corpses of peerless masters being controlled by this dog shit-like man, he was already filled with killing intent. Yang Yuanshu immediately shut his mouth, not daring to make another sound. He was absolutely certain that if he said another word, he would die without a doubt. Ling Bai gave him a disdainful look, then turned around and disappeared into the snow. Damn it, damn it. Yang Yuanshu's face turned cold and twisted as he roared madly in his heart, you dare to look down on me. One day, I will turn you into a dried corpse. Bang. 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 A few moments after Ling Bai left, the bodies of the peerless experts suddenly exploded one by one. They exploded into dust and disappeared into the air. Not only that, but the Book of the Nether Ghost formation under the ground seemed to have been broken as well. After a few rays of dim light burst out, the feeling of devouring vitality in Ning Kuyue's body suddenly stopped.
Ah!
Yang Yuanshu cried out in pain, completely dumbfounded. None of the treasures he had exchanged for with his entire family's fortune had survived. Bang. Somewhere far away, in the dark hall, the demonic flame on the wall candle glowed, reflecting the thin and long figures of two people, which were straightened on the wall. One of them, a skinny old man, was sitting at the head of the table. In a fit of anger, he shattered the coiling dragon's head on the throne with a single palm strike, causing the ground to be covered with jewels and gravel. The green-robed man couldn't help but laugh out loud. Do you feel angry that Ling Bai cheated you of a bone of the heavenly exquisite? The skinny old man's sallow face turned ashen, and his eyes flashed with a strong killing intent. The green-robed man sneered. I've told you before. None of these titled martial sovereigns are reliable. You'll have to do everything yourself. Humph. Ling Bai, I'm going to make him part of my collection. The old man said in a cold voice. The green-robed man sneered and said, what's the point of saying this out of anger? You'll only be looked down upon by others. A powerful person never brags. And you really can't do anything to Ling Bai. Now, not only is Ning Kuyue still alive, but I've also lost the 36 corpses that I risked my life to bring here. It's really a waste of effort. And I think your precious disciple won't live long. The old man's cold eyes swept over and he stared at the green-robed man. Wei Qing, I know you still have a backup plan. If my disciple dies, I won't let you off. The green-robed man's face was revealed in the dim light. He sneered coldly and said, you miscalculated and didn't listen to my advice, and now you expect me to save you? This place is tens of thousands of miles away from the Red Moon City, and I'm not the Void Martial Sovereign Zhuo Qingfan. How am I supposed to save your disciple? The old man snorted. Tang Chang and Ning Kuyue have basically controlled the situation in the Red Moon City. I also sealed the end of the world and the Purple Cloud Peak with my secret technique. Tell me what you have done. If you don't put in any effort, how can we cooperate? Wei Qing said coldly, you didn't do anything? Tang Chang made a big scene in Songyayang City. If I hadn't manipulated it secretly, he would have been eliminated by the Merchant Union and the people of the Holy Region. The old man flicked his sleeve and said coldly, no need to say more. I know you have set up a trap on the Purple Cloud Peak. However, I misjudged Ning Kuyue's strength and Ling Bai's strength. That's why I gave you the opportunity to use it. In short, my disciple cannot die. Humph. Wei Qing snorted and stopped talking. Instead, he walked to the center of the hall and cast a spell. A formation on the ground was activated, emitting a cold light. On the Purple Cloud Peak, Yang Yuanshu's entire body was covered in cold sweat. After the destruction of the 36 treasures, his heart ached for a moment, and he immediately began to feel a bone-chilling killing intent. The killing intent in Ning Kuyue's eyes almost materialized. Her beautiful face had never been so cold and angry. But, Lord Kuyue, I'm only an accomplice in this matter, not the mastermind. Please spare my life, Lord Kuyue. Yang Yuanshu's face turned pale, and his body trembled as he retreated. he was only a secret alchemist. Once his secret technique lost its effect, he would be completely useless in front of a strong person like Ning Kuyue. Who is it? Ning Kuyue asked coldly. Who is the person behind you? No, I can't tell you, Yang Yuanshu said with a trembling voice. With Lady Kuyue's ability, it's very easy to find out. Please let me go. Ning Kuyue's expression was cold. She was too lazy to ask any more questions. She took a step forward and was about to capture Yang Yuanshu and search his soul. Although she had consumed a lot of her yuan power at the moment, dealing with Yang Yuanshu, who had no corpse puppet, was still as easy as killing a chicken. Suddenly, an extremely powerful force shook out from the ground, and a ray of multicolored light shot up into the sky. It was as if a treasure had been born, and the entire mountain actually split open in the sky under this multicolored light. The two of them were shocked and looked up at the sky in horror. Roar! Another earth-shaking roar came from the mountain. Countless rays of light shot out and gradually gathered on the top of the mountain. The figure was huge and had a dull expression. His body was like a strong man and was full of muscle lumps. He was roaring at Ning Kuyue. Every roar was like a huge hammer, making Ning Kuyue's qi and blood boil. What shocked her even more was that the ray of light that had just rushed out of the mountain gradually gathered in the air and condensed into a scroll. It gave out tens of thousands of golden lights and opened in the air. There were flowers, insects, birds, beasts, the earth, mountains, rivers, lakes, seas, and the sky. Waves of spiritual energy overflowed as the scroll was unfolded. Ning Kuyue immediately recognized the scroll and cried out, "Picturesque landscape." The scroll was surrounded by a bright light. It flew down slowly from the sky with a boundless power, like a falling star. Even the entire purple cloud peak began to collapse under this unparalleled force. Ning Kuyue's face turned pale. She suddenly realized that the giant in front of her was Kuan Nu, and the scroll was also a Picturesque artifact from the holy region. She said angrily, "So the person behind the scenes is actually Wei Qing, that damn Wei Qing." At this moment, she had no origin power left in her body. Although she had taken a large number of medicinal pills, her recovery was still extremely slow. The power of the picturesque mountains and rivers pressed down on her until she could not breathe. There was also Kuan Nu's loud roars, which continuously shook the qi and blood in her body. The past few years should be a good time in name only. Even if there are 1,000 different styles, who can I talk to? Ning Kuyue chanted indifferently. Strange runes appeared on her armor, which immediately repelled all the power of sound waves. Various patterns appeared on the golden sword, and the power of the profound level weapon rippled out. The shadow of a pigeon was formed in the sky, as if it was going to break through the sky. The golden light on the battle suit jolted the power of the sound waves back. Kuan Nu cried out a few times and immediately dispersed into countless rays of light, flying into the sky and condensing again. However, the form that he had formed this time had a drastic change in expression. The aura on his body had also changed. A cold and sharp intent seemed to penetrate through Kuan Nu's eyes, staring at him from an infinite distance. Ning Kuyue's heart turned cold and she shouted angrily, "Wei Qing, you're Wei Qing." Kuan Nu did not say a word and stared coldly. The picturesque landscape fell into his hands, like a scholar holding a painting and reading it with his head lowered.